li Yeshua. Ozi bezimrat ya vayehi li Yeshua. Ozi bezimrat ya vayehi li Yeshua. Ozi bezimrat yam 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 vayehi li Yeshua. Boker Tov, good morning. Another gorgeous day outside. Ella said, I could get used to this weather this morning. I said, yeah, we can get used to this weather, and before you know it, we'll be complaining that we're sweating. It's so hot. But whatever it is, it's a sunny day. The sky is blue, and it's not too hot. And so here we are on Tuesday morning. I know that's not my usual spot, but Rabbi Jay is at a Jewish chaplains convention, and so I am here this morning with a little bit of Torah. And there's a lot of things happening this week as far as we have two B mitzvahs. One is on Thursday morning, and then Sophia's weekend starts on Shabbat. And so the typical places of Torah for this week's Parsha, B'Ha'orcha, are ones that are easily attachable for students. And so I'm leaving those teachings for Thursday morning and for Saturday morning and trying a different, discovering, unpacking a different part of what this Parsha has to offer. Typically, it's things like the menorah or leadership or spies as the themes for this, but something that gets overlooked are the silver trumpets. It's a small section tucked between two bigger stories, but contains for sure a modern message. So knowing which sound you're hearing. When I thought of what the title would be for this morning, it happened to be that I didn't forget that I was doing this today, but I thought to myself, mindfulness and midot, not prepared for that. Let me look for something else in Torah. And so as I read and as I was preparing this, I laughed to myself, as I feel like, laughing now. Know which sound you're hearing. Because there's something about, in this house, when Goldie and Hazel are screaming or crying or just being loud, Ellis is always like, they're so loud, and he wants to run away. He hears it super clear. But when I'm screaming his name from 3 inches from him, he doesn't hear me. How do you know which sound you're hearing? You're hearing your sisters, who are definitely lower than me if I'm yelling. You're hearing them and you're escaping. But I'm right next to you and I'm yelling and you don't hear me, right? So we know which sound comes from what. Know which sound you're hearing. So in this week's Parsha, God instructs Moses to make 2 silver trumpets. At first, it sounds like a practical detail. Okay, trumpets are going to be used to gather the people or signal travel or announce a celebration or sound an alarm in times of danger. Things like shofar blast, right? We know they mean different things. So the different blasts are meaning the different things, and one sound is meant to gather the leaders, and another is meant to gather the people, and another is it's time to move, and another is danger's coming, But what struck me is that the same instrument produced different messages. The people had to learn not only to hear that there was sound coming, but they had to learn what those sounds meant. And perhaps that's true in our own lives. We're constantly hearing calls or sounds or chatter, even. Some invite us to gather, some invite us to move, some invite us to pay attention, some warn us that something is going to need our care. The challenge isn't that life isn't speaking to us, the challenge is discerning which call we're choosing to hear. And sometimes we make a mistake to call, or we make a mistake that a call is a pause rather than a call to rush. And sometimes we mistake anxiety with urgency. And sometimes we hear a call to move forward, but stay where we are because it feels safer. The Jews, our ancestors, the Israelites of the time, had to develop a wisdom to recognize the difference. Not every trumpet, not every shofar, not every noisemaker blast meant the same thing. Not even every moment in life asks us of the same thing. There are seasons for gathering. There's times to lean into community. There's times to seek support. There's times to be surrounded by others. And these are interpreted by us. Yes, there's a formulary, of course. When things happen in the community, we need to be there for one another. When we're feeling isolated, down, alone, in need, we're seeking the support of another. So we know that there's different seasons for gathering, and we know mostly, whether we act on it or not, we know when we hear the call what our reaction to it or call to action should be. There are seasons for journeying, times when growth requires us to move forward, when staying where we are is no longer enough. And there are moments when we need to pay attention because something important is asking for our response. The silver trumpets remind us that wisdom is not simply hearing. Wisdom is the ability to discern, to know what this moment is asking of us. And maybe that's relevant today, and maybe you don't think it is, but I would tend to think that, well, I know for certain that our world is filled with noise, right? But we have to discern whether it's truth, whether it is newsworthy. Usually it's not. How we're going to hear it, how we're going to process it, and how we're going to react, right? So the noise of our world is notifications and headlines and opinions and demands, and everyone seems to be sounding a trumpet all at once, no matter where we are. Because it could just be in this office, like the call to put that suitcase back in the attic. It's been calling me every day I sit here, every day I see it. But have I done anything about it? No. Because maybe another sound came in that needed me to take care of it in that moment. And so we're always trying to figure out what we're hearing, how we're responding, what has urgency, what doesn't. But everything is chatter around us. It's the world we live in. It's the way we are. Because one thing calls us to another thing. I said last night, I think I said, we were doing things for Sophia's bat mitzvah last night at my house, and I said, I think adult ADD is a real thing. And everybody was laughing. Yeah, like if you go in the kitchen and you were going to get, a fork, and then you're like, the next thing you know, in my house, the laundry room is right off the kitchen. So the next thing you know, you heard the laundry go off, you put the fork down, you switched the laundry to the dryer, you left the fork on the counter, and you returned back to where you were because you forgot that you even needed the fork because you went from one thing to the other. And I think that's because of the noise that's filling our brains. It's coming in, we're processing it, but we're processing processing so many things simultaneously that things are falling through. The spiritual challenge is learning to listen beneath the noise, to ask, what is truly calling of me now? What deserves my attention? What is God, life, my own soul asking for me in this moment? Because all the other moments are still going to be there, and they're all going to still be calling. But sometimes we need to hone in to pinpoint that what is most important in this moment, I'll say. It is not to say that we can't hear the other chatter. We can't only be so hyper-focused on something that we let everything else, all the other noise, go away. In moments, of course. But it is realizing, recognizing, listening, and hearing and listening to what is the call right now? What would serve best on that list if we started with number 1 or we started with number 10? Where is the relevance in the moment? What's calling us? If a silver trumpet were sounding in your life right now, what would it be saying? Would it be calling you to gather, to move, to pay attention, to trust, to do? I don't know. Each one of us it's something different for each one. This week's Parsha, this little tiny piece within the portion, is telling us we need to use these. The Torah reminds us that not every call is the same. May we have the wisdom to discern what this moment is asking of us. May we know when to gather, when to journey, and when to simply just listen. May we find the courage to answer the call that is truly ours. Answering the call for others is always much easier than answering your own call. So we find ourselves in moments of, hey, wait a second. Let me, for 1 second, take a deep breath and ask myself, ourselves, what is this moment asking of us? We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 9:30. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for joining me, Elisa, Bet, and whoever else is watching. You know, numbers and no check-ins, but we love you anyway. And one day maybe you'll get the courage to actually check in. We hope it's soon. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 O Ravinu Chai. Have a great day, everyone.